everybody. I'm very pleased to be with you this morning. So, as Linda mentioned, I am Annabelle Rondaud, the French representative at the committee program for the Cluster 5, and more specifically in charge of energy and climate. I work for the French Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation, and with Hélène Ulmer-Tuffigo, the French representative at committee program for the Cluster 4, we are going to present you some calls in clusters 5 and 4 linked with fossil-free fuels and chemicals for a climate-neutral Europe. At first, just to remind you, even if it's very fresh in your mind, the Sun Energy project, as you know, enter in a ramp-up phases, and the project could be properly realized or concretized thanks to Horizon Europe, and more precisely thanks to two clusters, Cluster 5 and the Cluster 4. And precisely, I will present you the two called at the bottom of the slide, the two areas, research and innovation actions, and my colleague will present you the two other ones, the innovation action and the area on the right of the screen. Before entering into details, just a few words concerning the Cluster 5, the cluster dedicated to climate, energy and mobility. The overarching of this cluster is to accelerate the twin green and digital transitions and associated transformation of our economy, industry and society with a view to achieving climate neutrality in Europe by 2050. This cluster supports the implementation of the Paris Agreement and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the Next Generation EU. By creating more jobs, by accelerating economic and social transformation, faster digitalization, and by generating innovation-based and inclusive growth, activities are supposed to aid Europe's recovery in the wake of the COVID-19 crisis. We hope so. The Cluster 5 is organized around 6 destinations. Destination mean, in fact, a package of action in which you will find some calls. And for the first 2 years of the program, the work program, the document in which you will find calls, is so organized with these 6 destinations. The first one is dedicated to climate. Here, the idea is to focus on knowledge needed to enable effective decarbonization pathways. I don't want to enter into the details because I think for people who are with us today, maybe the most important calls are in the destination 2 and the destination 3. The destination 2 cover thematic areas that are cross-cutting in nature and can provide key solutions for energy and mobility applications. That's why in this destination you will find some calls dedicated to batteries, some other one for community and cities, and there is a sub-part dedicated to emerging breakthrough technologies and climate solutions. And for example, in this sub-part, you will find a call named Technology for Non-CO2 Greenhouse Gas Removal that can be very interesting for you. In the destination 3, the aim here is to make the energy supply cleaner, safer, and more competitive, especially for renewable energy solutions. That's why in this destination you will find some calls dedicated to photovoltaic, concentrate solar power, wind, offshore, geothermal, and of course solar fuels technologies. This destination deal with also for more flexible energy grid and through storage solution. In the destination, you have also some calls dedicated to the capture, storage, and the use of CO2. The last destination for me, because the two last one are on mobility and it's not my area. The destination 4 aims to develop demand-side solutions to decarbonize the energy system, to improve energy efficiency with 2 applications, building stock and industry. As you can see, and at the end of the slide, you have linked. In fact, thanks to this link, you could find a preliminary version of the work program. Normally, the official version is supposed to be published at the beginning of May. We hope so. But this first version could help you to prepare you and to apply for these different calls. So now let's go to focus on fossil-free fuels and chemicals for climate neutral Europe calling cluster 5, call which contribute to ramp-up phases of Sun Energy projects. So you have here the 2 titles, but I just want to switch and to advance. Yes, well, for the first one, which just before to explain to you how each call is organized, you have two parts. The first part is dedicated to expected outcome. In fact, you are supposed to reach with your proposal. And you have also a scope which describes precise more element and, for example, scientific economic element, which is weighted. On the right of the slide, you have some short elements concerning the level of TRL, the budget call, the budget per project, the opening date, and the deadline. So for this call, name hybrid catalytic conversion of renewable energy to carbon neutral fuels. The idea is, in fact, as you know, carbon neutral fuels can provide breakthrough solutions toward a fossil-free economy, responding to longer-term future demands for high energy density carriers in sectors relying on liquid fuels, if making their synthesis more efficient and technically sound. So this call will contribute to advance the European scientific basis in renewable fuels and to reinforce European potential to export European renewable fuels technology. So for this call, you are supposed to meet three expected outcomes. No, four, sorry. I'm sorry, I'm thinking, yes, sorry, it's the bad slide, sorry. So for this call, hybrid catalytic conversion of renewable energy, you are supposed to reach three expected outcomes: to foster availability of synergetic catalytic systems for carbon neutral renewable fuels, to improve performance of carbon neutral renewable fuels and European competitiveness, and to accelerate development of efficient carbon neutral renewable fuels. So in the scope, there is some precision. For example, your proposal is supposed to develop hybrid catalytic conversion processes. That means that could combine chemical, electrochemical, biological, for example, which responds to longer future demands for high energy density carriers in sectors relying on liquid fuels, as I already mentioned. The development and combination of novel catalysts, which improve significantly the performance, is also addressed. And the development of catalysts and or systems with dual function may be included. The call precise also the combination of at least two different catalyst types into a single multi-catalytic material should be addressed. And don't forget in the proposal to maximize the greenhouse gas emission abatement in the conversion process. The second call is the idea of this call is the development of novel artificial photosynthesis technologies. And that's why you are supposed, in the expected outcome, to advance the European scientific basis, leadership, and global role in the area of renewable and solar fuels. We are supposed also to provide solar fuel breakthrough solutions toward a fossil-free economy and ecosystem, to increase European technology competitiveness in solar fuel technologies, and to develop artificial photosynthesis solutions, which will minimize further downstream processing and increase their scalability and integration within the industrial value chain in respect of circularity. The idea of this value chain is very important because, of course, if at the end of the project you are supposed to reach a level of 5 for TRL, it's important to have a long-term view in this project. In the scope, you have 2 or 3 precision. For example, production of hydrogen as a final product is not envisaged. As you know, hydrogen is covered by another work program with the institutional partnership Clean Hydrogen, sorry. And there is also a precision concerning that synergies are possible with the topic in the cluster 4. The main impact, as you know, impacts are very important when you apply for Horizon Europe. There is something new in the work program in Horizon Europe. The impacts are not included in the description of the call, but they are in each introduction of destination. So be careful with that. Don't forget to read the introduction of each destination. And for renewable energy technology solution calls, you have the same impacts for all calls. That means the 2 previous calls we have analyzed, you are supposed to apply for these main impacts, which are described in this slide. I don't want to enter into the detail or to read, but the global idea with your proposal is to reinforce your scientific basis, and to better integrate renewable energy, to reduce cost and de-risking technology, etc., etc. Last but not least, if we have analyzed more precisely two causes which contribute to sun energy ramp-up phases, in the cluster 5, you will find some of the call. Maybe it could be interesting for you to read 7 calls. The first one is a CSA that could be very interesting, for example, on educational aspects for renewable energy and fuel technologies. And you have also 2 innovation action, the last line of this table and the penultimate line of this table. You will find 2 innovation action. So thank you for your attention. I give the floor to Hélène for the cluster 4.
Oh, hello. So let's turn to the cluster 4 and have a look at which call might offer the opportunity to work on these thematics linked to fossil-free fuels and chemicals for a climate-neutral Europe. So first of all, a few words on the cluster 4. Yes, thank you for the slides. Similarly as cluster 5, described previously by Annabelle, cluster 4 has been imagined, conceived in the idea that it has to be the fact of not working anymore in silos. It is very in favor of working with different communities to work together. So cluster 4 covers digital industry and space. So it's a huge cluster. The domain of the budget of cluster 4, sorry, is about 15.3 billion euros for 7 years, about the same as for cluster 5. And cluster 4 is going to be piloted by 4 directorates general of the European Commission, which is very good in the principle, but which could perhaps also explain some delay in the implementation. We are the last one finishing negotiating our work program, and we still have a program committee at the end of this month, late April. We hope to converge, but there are still some uncertainties. For example, the draft mentions that many calls are supposed to open today. I think it is the case also for cluster 5. And so many calls are supposed to open today on the 15th of April, and obviously it's not going to be the case. So the last thing that I wanted to mention concerning this slide and the cluster 4 in general was the fact that, of course, the backbone of this pillar is transforming the EU industry for a clean, more biosourced, climate neutral, circular and competitive economy. Second, ensuring the EU's global industrial leadership and strategic autonomy in key technologies. And finally, shaping technologies and innovation that work for people, that adapt for our societies and our way to life. So all these actions could lead finally to generate more jobs, accelerate economics and social transformation, and generate innovation-based and inclusive growth. Next slide, please. So this slide describes destination 1 and destination 2. These destinations roughly correspond to the former NMBP part of the H 2020 program that most of you already know. So let's just have a look at the destination 1. It is entitled Climate Neutral, Circular and Digitized Production. This destination focuses on a dual green and digital transition in the manufacturing and construction industries. So the objective here is really to aim for a leadership in a clean and economically neutral industrial value chains. All the topics presented in this destination are going to be entitled Twin/XXX. The destination are this destination is divided into different sections, and one of the calls that might interest you is in the section integration of renewables and electrification in process industries. So let's come to destination 2. So in this destination, the aim will be to strengthen cross-sectoral cooperation all along the value chain. In this destination, 2 calls might interest you. In the section hubs for circularity, no, it's not, it's, no, I'm mistaking. Well, okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so very quickly, and in order to be extensive, I have put on this slide the other destinations of cluster 4. There are 3 destinations, mainly for the digital part of the cluster, destination 3, 4, and 6. And for the space part of the cluster, destination 5. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's focus on the calls dealing with fossil-free fuels and chemicals for a climate-neutral Europe. So first of all, I have to confess that I am not at all a specialist of this subject. And I think I am speaking in front of a lot of specialists. So this is a bit stressful to me. I would like to precise an important point. As soon as the program will be officially open, I will know which project officer will be in charge of which topic. And therefore, it will be more easy for me. It will be easier for me to ask to the project officer for precision concerning the call. So please don't hesitate to contact me in this sense to take advantage of this opportunity. If you have, if you need some other precision about a call, don't hesitate to call me. So, okay, so we are dealing now with the CSA. So I am going to go fast on this slide because it concerns the CSA that Frédéric Chandezon already described a little bit. So the idea with the CSA is to build a community with all relevant stakeholders around the Europe. So the idea is also to build and update a long-term roadmap. And of course, as you can see in the slide that we'll have later, so the final objective is to structure in the short term the European ecosystem in order to speed up technologies to move from the laboratory to industry. Okay, so let's turn to next slide, please. Okay, so this slide is about development of more energy efficient electrically heated catalytic reactors. So first of all, I have to apologize because there is a slight mistake on these slides. It is not a research and innovation action. It is an innovation action. So of course, I will send you the right slide at the end, of course. So you can see that the budget call is 33 million. The budget per project is 7 per 10 million. So about 3 to 4 projects are welcomed. The opening is very soon. It's supposed to be today. So of course it's not going to be today, but it's going to be very soon. And you can see that the deadline is going to be in late September. So what can I say about this call? Well, today reactors are kept at very high temperatures in industrial scale catalytic processes with energy supplied by the combustion of fossil fuels. And therefore, substitution of fossil fuels derived heating with emission-free alternative will obviously contribute to greening of large industries. So definitely the idea behind this call is to provide a shift from fired to electrically heated catalytic reactors. And the electricity should be given by renewables that will lead to a large decrease in CO2 emissions. So what are the expected outcomes? Well, first of all, a breakthrough in carbon footprints for a given reaction, about 40%. Secondly, a significant process intensification, thirdly, the project should be able to demonstrate an environmental and techno-economic feasibility of novel catalytic reactor technologies and catalytic materials. And last, the advanced catalytic reactor concepts should be able to operate in synergy with alternative energy resources. Okay, so this is remind that this is an innovative call. Sorry for the mistake, and I will change it later on. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the call concerning new electrochemical conversion routes for the production of chemicals and materials in process industry. So this call is in the section integration of renewables and electrification in process industry. So it is in destination 1. So we all know that renewable electricity will play a major role in the transition towards a low carbon energy supply. And therefore, we know that the production of chemicals can be realized by electrochemical conversion in photo and electrocatalytic processes. There are many advantages besides the reduction of CO2 emissions, such as higher selectivity, process flexibility, and also the possibility of accessing chemical pathways that could not be reachable in a conventional reactor. So we know that there are already promising electrochemical routes towards a wide range of products in process industries, but advanced electrochemical systems can enable higher efficiency and lower investment and operational cost. And this is really, that is the cost, the scope of this cost. So the expected outcomes of the future projects are remain in yes. So the expected outcomes of the future projects should be an electrification of the industrial production process by shifting from the chemical conversion process to an electrochemical conversion process. An efficient integration of renewable electricity to drive the conversion process. And finally, a significant reduction of CO2 emissions of the overall industrial process. Okay, so next slide, please. So now we are turning to the main impacts to be generated in the destinations 1 and 2, and connected with the focus on fossil-free fuels and chemicals for a climate-neutral Europe. I am not going to describe them. You are going to have the slide afterwards. But it is very important for you to read the introduction of all the destinations. Indeed, all these impacts are given in the introductions of the destinations. And Horizon Europe is very much impact oriented. And each topic has to be clearly related to the politic priorities set up by the Commission. So it is very important to keep that in mind when creating and writing your proposal. I am not going to say more about that. Next slide. Okay, so if you need more information, of course, you can turn to the European Commission website that will give you the information concerning the calls, the statistics with the dashboard that I advise you to see concerning H2020, the projects and the event. And of course, the new French website Horizon Europe from the Ministère that will give you access to the calls, the event, and of course, and also to the legal and financial fact sheets. Next slide, please. And finally, we, the national contact points, are at your disposal in order to help you, accompany you when you have questions about the topic, looking for partners, and even if you need us to participate in events that you can organize. Okay, well, thank you very much.